Wonder Woman is one of the most iconic characters of all time, and yet probably one of the most misunderstood. Ever since her first appearance in All-Star Comics number 8 in 1941 by William Moulton Marston and H.G. Peter, she instantly became one of DC's most important characters. She's a member of the Trinity, equal footing to both Superman and Batman, one of the first ever female superheroes, debatably the most important woman in all of comics. Her iconography of the lasso and bracelets, even the invisible jet, are ingrained within cultural consciousness. And yet, I have never seen a character get misrepresented in conversation and even from official stories as much as Diana of Themyscira has. People will tell you that she's irrelevant, only interesting when she's a murderer, not worthy of being on a hypothetical Mount Rushmore of comic characters. I trace this back to the fact that she hasn't had much luck when it comes to adaptations. There was the Linda Carter TV show back in the 70s, which is a lot of fun, especially for the time, and I'll give the first DCEU movie some credit. There are a lot of things that I really love about that thing. But then they followed it up with a disaster that is Wonder Woman 84. Gal Gadot has become a cultural laughingstock. She's still never had an animated series after 85 years, despite her other Trinity members having several. Her solo game got canceled and the studio shut down, so now we're just left with the Injustice version. And then you got the mainline comics doing whatever the hell this is. Now, in defense, James Gunn has said that he's working on an animated series. We've got Paradise Lost on the way, and Anna Nagara is currently in the process of writing her DCU solo movie. All of which, when and if they eventually happen, have a lot of potential. But you still can't deny that DC hasn't really treated Wonder Woman the best recently. If you ask me, Wonder Woman is in a nearly identical place that Superman was in just a few years ago. Because before this huge Superman resurgence from the past couple of years, the majority of people honestly hated Superman. They called him boring, outdated, irrelevant, only interesting when he's a murderous fascist. But now, in huge part thanks to adaptations like My Adventures with Superman and the new James Gunn movie, everybody loves the guy. So the DCU Wonder Woman movie needs to be made with that in mind. Created with the same goal, that same intention, and the same drive that Superman was made under. To not just make a movie about Wonder Woman, but a movie that shows everybody exactly who Wonder Woman is. So this is my pitch for Wonder Woman in the DCU. We open in modern times in Gateway City, and just like the beginning of Superman, we get a similar opening title crawl to not only introduce the fundamentals of the character, but also throw us right into the story. It reads as follows. 3,000 years ago, the Amazon warriors were shrouded from man's world on the paradise island of Themyscira. 3 decades ago, Queen Hippolyta's wish for a child was granted, creating a daughter out of clay. She named her Diana. 3 years ago, Themyscira revealed itself again to the world, and Princess Diana became its ambassador to the United Nations. 3 hours ago, a monster of old called the Tetracide arrived in Gateway City, attacking every man, woman, and child in its sight. 3 minutes ago, Wonder Woman arrived to stop the beast. There's a roar, and we see a figure fly through the air and smash through one of the buildings. The camera pans to reveal the Tetracide, a massive, hulking creature the size of a skyscraper, death personified. The figure stands up from the rubble, and we see a woman, tall with dark curly hair, her armor covered in her own blood and sweat. The woman spits out blood and readies a massive sword. Absolute Wonder Woman began in 2024, written by Kelly Thompson with art by Hayden Sherman as part of DC's new Absolute universe of comics. And it follows a version of Diana who wasn't raised on Themyscira, but instead in hell as a witch. The book is amazing for a whole plethora of reasons, whether it be the lore, or Hayden Sherman's art, or the characterization and design of Diana, or my personal favorite aspect, the absolutely gorgeous panel layouts. In an already fantastic Absolute universe, Absolute Wonder Woman is standing out among the greats and making a huge impact with old and new fans alike. I'm seeing people who would never in a million years read about Diana picking up and loving Absolute Wonder Woman. Now, I want to make something crystal clear. I'm not saying that we should take the Absolute book and slap it into this new DCU, changing everything about Wonder Woman to adapt something that's only a couple years old. That'd be crazy. A sentiment that I've seen a lot is the idea that Absolute should replace Mainline, which I really don't agree with. Not only because personality-wise, Absolute Diana is nearly the exact same as Classic, but also especially when there's a ton of other really incredible Wonder Woman stories that don't get spotlighted. Like George Perez's time on the book Post-Crisis, or Greg Rucka's run both in 2003 and in Rebirth. Those are some of the most foundational stories for the character, and it's what I'm going to be pulling from the most when it comes to this pitch. Kelly Thompson has even said that she doesn't want an Absolute Wonder Woman animated series until Classic Diana gets the same treatment. So instead, I think that we should take the aesthetics and the visuals of Absolute Wonder Woman, like the title and her costume and maybe the big ass sword, and use that as a way to stand out from what came before, but also introduce more traditional Wonder Woman ideas to a general audience. In the same way Marvel would take ideas from the Ultimate Universe and mix them in with 616 in the early days of the MCU. Because there are genuinely people who fucking hate regular Wonder Woman, and you gotta kind of trick them, you know, jingle the keys in front of people and be like, hey look, it's Absolute, but really it's like, it's regular. One thing I really want to maintain from the Absolute Universe is the vibe of her being kind of like a monster hunter, and I'm not just saying that because of the big sword. I think that could be a really fun avenue to introduce a lot of the Greek mythology fantasy that defines Wonder Woman, and also inject a lot of personality and even darker horror elements without losing what makes the character who she is. We cut back to Diana, pulling her sword out of the Tetraside's fallen body. A reporter rushes up to her with a camera and asks to get her side of the story. Allegedly, Wonder Woman talked to the creature before fighting it. Diana says that she tried to reason with the beast, tried to find a way to pacify it peacefully, but it left her no choice. The reporter tells her that it was a monster. Why does it deserve that level of grace? And Diana says that her people have a saying: to never kill if you can wound, never wound if you can subdue, and never raise your hand at all until you first extended it in kindness. So many stories and adaptations, especially modern ones post-New 52, portray Diana as a bloodthirsty killing machine who chops off heads and has no problem with violence. And while yes, Diana is a fighter who comes from an island of warriors, I think that oversimplifies her and ignores everything that she stands for. Above all else, Wonder Woman has always been about compassion and kindness. That quote about the Amazons comes from Wonder Woman 25 by Gail Simone and Bernard Chang from 2008, and in my opinion is a perfect reflection of who Diana is. And I think that should reflect in her character arc. Not in that she has to learn the value of kindness, that would be crazy, but instead I think it would be really interesting to give her what's called an affirmation arc, where a character believes in something and surrounding forces try to break their belief, but by the end of the movie it's the world around them that's changed because of their actions, as opposed to a traditional arc where a character changes something fundamental about themselves. When it comes to the casting, that is a whole can of worms, if nothing else because it's going to date this video very hard. People are even saying now that she's already been secretly cast. But casting the perfect Wonder Woman honestly feels kind of impossible. If you ask me, I would love for her actor to be somebody tall, ideally taller than David Corenswet, like the absolute version of the character, and also to recreate this moment from Darwin Cook's New Frontier. At the very least, I should not be taller than her, okay? But at the end of the day, after seeing the care that went into casting Superman, I think that Wonder Woman deserves to get that same treatment. This is where we get a better introduction on Diana's daily life, not only as Wonder Woman, but also the Themysciran ambassador. She's someone who's always moving. She has meetings on opposite ends of the country, a book signing to get to, an interview with the local news, never without a moment's rest. But she manages to do it all without a sweat and still has time to save a cat out of a tree. How? Because she's Wonder Woman. I see Diana as kind of like the superhero equivalent of Barbie, if that makes sense, but in like the best way possible. She's an icon, she's beautiful, and she's had every job you can think of, and she's great at all of them. Also, I gotta get this out of the way. Diana can talk to animals. Nobody ever mentions that, but it's very fun. She's like a Disney princess. I love that about her. But all this doesn't come without criticism. I think it'd be really interesting if the media is extra harsh on Diana, especially the news outlets owned by billionaire Veronica Cale. They could criticize her for everything she does, take her words out of context, have a double standard for her compared to other public figures, and amplify any potential failures to the point where she has to be great to even be considered good. Hey, I'm glad nothing like that happens in the real world, at least. And it's in these scenes where we get introduced to Wonder Woman's supporting cast. The movies did fuck all with Diana's side characters. You got the Amazons, who she loses contact with. You got Steve Trevor, who was great because he's Chris Pine. Etta Candy for one movie before making her die of old age because you started in World War I. Kristen Wiig before she turns into a crazy cat lady. And Batman. And that's it. So I think we should start the movie with some of those characters already in Diana's life. Maybe throughout the first act, we see Etta Candy alongside her, helping her with her schedule in the media. There's another supporting character who I haven't mentioned, who's genuinely my favorite character in all of Wonder Woman, but I'll get to him later. We see Diana at a lecture hall at Gateway City University. She's taken time out of her schedule to give a guest presentation for her friend, Professor Barbara Minerva, who's teaching a college course about ancient Greek history. Well, I say friend. And this is where we learn a little bit more about the Amazons and the history of Themyscira, with students and faculty alike asking Diana different questions about them. And maybe this can be a scene where the movie could essentially look at the audience and clear up a lot of those misconceptions about Paradise Island and Themyscira, and maybe even about Diana's origin. James Gunn has said that Wonder Woman being made out of clay is as interchangeable as Batman's logo, something that fans want to complain about but ultimately doesn't matter. But I completely disagree. Wonder Woman being born just the daughter of Zeus turns her into another one in a long line of demigod characters. There are so many of them throughout mythology, she might as well be Percy Jackson at that point. But her clay origin is so distinct, so original, and so foundational to who she is as a character. The sheer act of her birth is by definition a miracle. It's almost biblical in nature. Being born to an island of all women by sheer act of a mother's greatest wish. Her first breath was a gift, and every breath she takes since is giving back to the world. During the lecture, there's a voice from the far back of the classroom. What about the Hikatea? With the spotlight in her eyes, Diana can't make out who said it, but it sounded like a young girl. For a second, she feels a moment of dread. Diana is taken aback by such a specific question and how someone so young could know about it. But she happily answers. The Hikatea is an oath of protection, a divine, unbreakable pact. Once it is invoked, and if you accept it, your word is binding until either death or until you are relieved, with no exceptions. And to break that word is to be punished by the gods themselves. As Diana's eyes begin to adjust more, she's able to see the back of the classroom, only to find the mysterious girl vanished. We cut to the middle of a dark forest, where we see a woman performing an incantation with silver armor and a burn mark on her face. Circe. I've been seeing this notion more and more recently, especially in online spaces, that Wonder Woman is a bad character because she doesn't have a rogues gallery, which straight up just isn't true. Now, some people will tell you that she doesn't have villains because she kills them, quoting this panel from Jeff Johns' time on Justice League in the New 52. This is also wrong. Wonder Woman has a huge cast of villains. Name 5 Wonder Woman villains. Okay, Circe, Cheetah, Ares, Silver Swan, Medusa, Veronica Cale. Oh my god, I love Veronica Cale. Dr. Psycho, Dr. Cyber, Dr. Poison, The Mask, but not that one, Giganta, The White Magician, Deimos and Phobos, we can count them together, that's fine, Max Lord, and tons of others that I'm probably forgetting about because she's been around for 85 fucking years. Of course she has villains. Is that 5? I forgot to count. I genuinely think that this notion that she has no villains comes from the fact that we never had a Wonder Woman animated series the same as Batman or Superman. Those shows, specifically the DCAU versions, were able to showcase dozens and dozens of each character's rogues gallery and helped solidify them to general audiences. And with the exception of the Linda Carter show from the 70s, Diana has never had an adaptation with the breathing room to dive deep into her rogues. And the 70s show didn't even use any of her villains. It'd be like if Batman never got another movie after Batman Returns and people didn't know who Mr. Freeze was. If only there was like, oh, I don't know, just spitballing here, a video game with like a nemesis system which could have explored that. That would be so cool. Somebody should make that. And I'm really hoping with Circe's appearance in Creature Commandos, the DCU can be the place to either give Diana that animated treatment or at the very least showcase more of her rogues and put this whole thing to bed. I don't really love how that show used Circe, with her heading the Sons of Themyscira and then just getting taken out by Weasel of all people, but I do really like the casting of Anya Chalotra, and I really love the idea of her being Circe in live action. Also, name 5 Wonder Woman villains. 5 Wonder Woman villains show up in the Justice League animated show. I gotta come down, I'm sorry. This is a long video. Dark smoke swirls around Circe as the witch looks into a cloudy crystal ball, murmuring under her breath. In the orb, an image appears. A young girl with long, dark hair. There you are. Diana has coffee with Professor Minerva after the lecture. Again, just friends. A momentary pit stop before she has to go back on the road again. She asks Barbara about the girl from earlier, but before Barbara is able to say anything, a fire truck wails down the street, sirens blazing, and off in the distance, Diana sees a huge plume of smoke. A man runs up to her and tells Diana that there's a huge fire on the other side of town. She gives Barbara her apologies and leaves a gold coin as a tip before leaping off towards the fire. She comes across an apartment building that's been completely set ablaze. The local firefighters were able to get almost everybody out, but they suspect somebody else is on the top floor. Wonder Woman makes her way in and she finds a young girl with dark hair, the same girl from the lecture, trying to escape something. Someone. The flames begin to get hotter and brighter, changing into a bright purple and green, and we see who the girl is running from. Circe. Circe tells Diana to leave, that this doesn't concern her. The two of them fight a little bit, and Diana manages to get the girl out of the building before it explodes. As Diana carries the girl to the paramedics, she begins to say something. The girl, covered in soot and with tears streaming down her face, with what little voice she has left, she begins to recite a ritual, an oath. My name is Donna Troy, and I invoke the Hecate. Wonder Woman Hecate, released in 2002 by Greg Rucka and J.G. Jones. It was Rucka's first time writing for the character before his mainline run in 2003 with Drew Johnson. The book introduces the Hecate, a ritual from real-life ancient Greek tradition. One night, a girl arrives at the door of the Themyscirian embassy, named Danielle Wellies. Terrified and covered in rain and bruises, she speaks the words and evokes this ritual to Diana, asking for her protection against something, to which Diana accepts with open arms. Diana later learns why Danielle needed protection, when none other than Batman arrives at her door. Bruce says that Danielle kills 3 men in Gotham and is on the run, and Diana needs to turn her in. But under the vow of Hecate, she's not able to even if she wanted to. All the while, she's haunted by the 3 Furies of myth, who are waiting for her to fail so that they can kill Wonder Woman themselves. It pits these 2 powerhouses of the DC universe, Batman and Wonder Woman, against each other physically and ideologically. Batman has his no-kill rule, his line that he absolutely will not cross, and he believes that murder is the worst thing that anyone can do. Meanwhile, Diana has the rule of the gods, represented by the Hecate. Even without the divine punishment, to turn in Danielle would go against the values of her culture and break a promise that she made to this girl. Both sides of the argument aren't wrong, and made even more complex when we learn that Danielle has valid reasons for what she did, as revenge against traffickers for abusing and exploiting her sister. I'm of course not going to be adapting it directly here. That would be a very boring video, and look how much time we have left. I suggest reading the story yourself wherever you can find it. As much as I love the Batman v Wonder Woman dynamic, I think that the idea of the Hecate can be used, especially with a character like Donna, to show Wonder Woman's character and her mythos in a greater capacity. My favorite part of the story is that despite this random girl showing up at her doorstep and evoking such a powerful and sacred idea, Diana doesn't bat an eye. She doesn't question Danielle. She doesn't hesitate. Immediately, she takes this girl in her arms and says, of course, whatever you need. Also, who knows what the hell's going on with Batman right now, so I'm not touching that guy. Diana takes Donna to her home at the Themyscirian embassy, where she sets her up in the guest room. Part of the pact of the Hecate is that the agreement is 2 ways. The supplicant is a guest in the protector's home, and it's to give them the respect that they deserve, or else the pact has no meaning. Donna isn't just supposed to leech off of Diana here. In exchange for food, shelter, and protection, Donna is expected to uphold her end and carry her own weight, which is perfect timing, because with Diana's busy life, she could always use another assistant. Kind of a Wonder Girl, if you will. Diana doesn't ask Donna for any details. Anything about her life before they met isn't important. The reason for evoking the Hecate doesn't matter. Even who she's supposed to be protecting her from. She knows that Donna will share whenever she's ready. But Donna says that's the thing. She would tell Diana. If she knew. but she doesn't remember anything. She can't remember a single thing from the past 24 hours. One minute she's walking home from Professor Minerva's class, and the next thing she knows, she's being chased by an angry witch trying to kill her. She doesn't even know how she knew how to evoke the Hikatea. She just knew it. Donna Troy is a character that historically has never gotten enough credit. Donna Troyo Boyo 17. I feel like I gotta get that in there somewhere. For all intents and purposes, she's the heart and soul of the Teen Titans. Not just the original Fab 5, but also the iconic new Teen Titans run. And yet she was completely left out of the 2003 series, has never been adapted in animation, and Titans is a whole can of worms. A lot of this is in part because of Donna's convoluted backstory, which I'll get to later. But regardless, she's a hugely integral part of DC that's always gotten the short straw. And giving her a spotlight in a movie could not only be a great way to showcase how great she is, but also give Diana the role of mentor and sister that we didn't get to see with you-know-who. How does this line up with characters like Nightwing and Wally and all of them in the DCU? I don't know. Let's cross that bridge when we get there. Diana looks out the bedroom window, where she sees 3 shadowy figures standing in the distance, watching her. The Erinyes, also known as the Furies, here to watch Diana fail, no doubt. They don't say anything, they don't move, they don't do anything. They just watch. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to lean a little bit into some horror elements, especially when it comes to the monster designs. Diana was actually the leader of the Justice League Dark for a while, which I really loved. Maybe even getting a director with horror experience the same way that Sam Raimi or James Wan made Spider-Man and Aquaman. For the entire movie, the Furies are watching Diana. Donna can't see them, only Diana can. Always in the distance, just out of sight, behind every corner, around every turn, waiting for the moment where she fails in her duty, where the Hikatea is broken and they can pounce. Diana puts out a call to an old friend, asking for a favor. Colonel Steve Trevor. Now, I like Steve Trevor as a character in most cases. I think he was honestly one of the better parts of the DCEU movies, aside from, you know, all that. But I don't think that he's the most essential character for Wonder Woman stories. At least not in the same way as Lois Lane is for Superman. But he is still important to her history and honestly one of the few things the majority of people actually know about Wonder Woman. So I don't want to pretend that he doesn't exist. I think it could be fun to set up that the two of them had a relationship in the past and already gone through that traditional origin, to lean into the DCU's strengths of being a lived-in world. And so Diana's already moved on, but maybe he hasn't. Diana asks Steve to use his military contacts to do some research on Donna, if she has any ties to Dr. Psycho or the Sons of Themyscira or anything else that would get her wrapped up with Cersei. Steve says that he's gone through nearly every military record he can get his hands on, both on the books and off. On the surface, she seems like a perfectly normal 19-year-old. But when he dug a little bit deeper, things didn't add up. She goes to Gateway City University, but she never even applied. Her elementary school closed down 30 years ago. Her birth certificate was signed by a doctor that doesn't exist. Things are just a little bit off. Steve says that something isn't right about Donna. She isn't who she says she is. And he asks if Diana even knows who it is that she's protecting. But Diana isn't having it. That it doesn't matter who she is. She's a girl who asked for help, and so she's helping. She's bound to the oath of the Hikatea, and so she doesn't have a choice. But even if she did, she'd make the same one. And before Steve can respond, Diana hears a thundering boom, growing louder and louder, before a massive creature breaks through the walls of the embassy. Half man, half bull, a minotaur. Its eyes glow green with dark magic under the control of Cersei. The beast charges his way through the embassy on a beeline towards Donna. Diana takes Donna and manages to get her outside, and we have a fun little action scene throughout the streets of Gateway City as the minotaur is chasing them. Diana saving people from the wreckage while keeping Donna away from the monster. Diana recognizes that the minotaur is not in control of his own actions. He's under the witch's spell. So instead of raising her sword at the beast, she lowers it. The minotaur charges at her, but she stands her ground. She takes the full force of his charge, grabs a hold of him by the horns, digs her boots into the pavement, and wraps her lasso around him, knocking him to the ground. The lasso emanates a warm golden glow. She speaks to the beast calmly and gently, and calls for the truth of his nature to be revealed. The minotaur's breathing starts to slow. The green from his eyes disappears, burned away with the golden light of truth. And we see that it's scared. Diana unwraps the lasso from the minotaur, and she reaches her hand out, telling him that he's free now. The minotaur, terrified, disappears into a nearby forest without a word. Donna asks Diana why she didn't hurt him. Anyone else would have. And Diana simply says that that's not what they do here. Diana realizes that Cersei is going to be sending monsters one after another to try to get to Donna. Far more dangerous than just a single beast. Donna says that she's scared, that if Cersei is able to send something like that, even more powerful, then maybe not even Wonder Woman can keep her safe. That maybe she's a burden, not worth protecting. But Diana assures her that everything will be okay. She even takes the lasso of truth off of her belt, wraps it around her arm, holds Donna's hand in her own, and says, "I promise you, no harm will come to you when you are under my protection." The lasso begins to glow. "You have my word, sister." With the threat of monster attacks at any moment, even within the walls of the embassy, Donna decides that she needs to know what happened and why Cersei is after her, that she wants to get her memories back. Diana tries to use the power of the lasso to uncover the truth of Donna's memories, but it doesn't work. Her past is most likely blocked by some dark magic that even the lasso can't break through. But Diana knows what can. The waters of the river Mnemosyne in the underworld. The sister waters of the river Styx and Lethe. Legends say that these waters have the power of memory. If there's anything more powerful than Diana's lasso, those waters are their best shot. The underworld? You telling me to go to hell? No, of course not. If anything, I'd say it's the opposite. We cut to an airplane hangar and hear the sound of jet engines firing up, but we don't see anything as Wonder Woman and Donna Troy take off in the invisible jet towards the Paradise Island of Themyscira. A lot of people assume that Wonder Woman can never go back to Themyscira because there are some continuities and adaptations that present it that way. There are even some Elseworlds where Diana is explicitly banished, which is a direction that I hope the DCU does not go in. But in mainline comics, Diana has regularly been able to return home even as far back as the Golden Age. And in Wonder Woman number 50 by George Perez from 1991, the Amazons publicly reveal themselves to the world. Mortals are even allowed to visit the island and learn directly from the culture. So even though the story with Donna and Hikatea doesn't necessarily require the Amazons, I wanted to include them at least a little bit because they're so foundationally important to who Diana is and the choices that she makes. There's an old temple in the far reaches of Paradise Island, from even before the Amazons broke free from man's world. Legends say that inside the temple is a spring with the waters of Mnemosyne, the only place where the river touches the mortal world. The jet lands on Themyscira, and as Diana exits, she says to it, "Thank you, Dome." Donna asks, "Did you just thank the jet?" And Diana tells Donna that it's not a jet. It's a sentient piece of alien crystal that was given to her by the Lancinarians. The DCU has been really good about doing weird, random comic book lore drops and then moving on, like Lobo's backstory or Superman's hypno glasses, and I think something like that about the invisible jet would be no different. Diana returns home alongside Donna, and she's greeted by her Amazon sisters. At first, Donna is overwhelmed by the culture and the huge personalities of all these women, but she soon realizes that nobody here is looking at her like a monster or a problem to be solved, unlike back home. It's like being surrounded by 100 Wonder Women, and she gets this feeling like a weight lifted off her shoulders, like she doesn't have to make herself smaller or invisible anymore. She feels safe. I've seen a lot of people have some very wild misconceptions about the Amazons. This is primarily due to the New 52, which rewrote all of Wonder Woman's mythos and was supposed to be a jumping on point for the character. That book redefined the Amazon warriors by making them bloodthirsty murderers. They would raid ships and then sexually assault sailors to become pregnant before killing them, and then trade away any male children for weapons before raising the girls to quote-unquote repopulate. And I think that is really bad. I'm gonna be totally honest with y'all, that fucking sucks. It also doesn't help that that run is the one that DC always pushes to new readers, like with their compact line. The Amazons aren't man-haters or misandrists. It's an island of women created to protect them from the violence of man's world. They don't have to repopulate. They're immortal beings that are reincarnated souls of women who were victims of patriarchal violence. That's also why not every Amazon is ethnically Greek. There have been Black Amazons and Latina Amazons and Asian Amazons and even some trans Amazons. Fortunately though, those New 52 changes were later retconned during the Rebirth era with Greg Rucka's second run on the character, bringing Wonder Woman's mythos back to the more traditional and honestly better version. Seriously, if you want to read Wonder Woman's origin, just read Year One by Greg Rucka and Nicola Scott. It's very good. I'm really hoping that Paradise Lost takes from Wonder Woman Historia by Kelly Sue DeConnick, Phil Jimenez, Jean Ha, and Nicola Scott from 2021, which is easily my favorite depiction of the Amazon's history and honestly one of the most beautiful comics I've ever read in my life. Seriously, I was driving my car the other day thinking about the ending and I genuinely started crying. It's really fucking good. Queen Hippolyta arrives to welcome her daughter back to the island, and the two of them get a moment to talk privately amongst themselves. She tells Hippolyta why she's there, to use the spring of Mnemosyne and restore Donna's memories. Hippolyta says that the girl shows a lot of promise, but there's something deeply familiar about her. Something that reminds her of Diana, but she can't quite place it. It might just be that her daughter's best qualities are rubbing off. Diana also tells her mother about the Hikatea, that she's under oath to protect Donna. And for the first time in the movie, someone understands the weight of that. Hippolyta understands not just how important it is for Diana to keep her word, but also why she accepted it in the first place. So instead of telling her what to do or to be careful or run from the oath, she just places her hand on her daughter's shoulder and gives her courage. Courage to be strong, to stay true in her beliefs, and to never forget who she is. Diana and Donna travel through the jungles of the island before they come upon a massive stone temple, covered in moss and overgrown weeds, virtually all but lost to the elements. Inside the temple, we see a small pool of water. There's nothing special about it. It might as well be a regular puddle of regular water. The waters of Mnemosyne. Diana entrusts Donna with her lasso of truth, and slowly lowers her into the water. Before being fully submerged, Donna looks up at her friend, terrified, and Diana calms her with nothing more than a smile. The water begins to glow, and memories begin to flood Donna's mind. She sees flashes, moments, nothing that she can grab onto. The only clear memory is the night before she was found by Diana. We see Donna as she's walking through a forest alone outside of Gateway City. A man emerges in front of her, confronting her. He starts shouting at her about things she doesn't understand, like titans and clay. And before she knows it, he starts to attack her. Donna tries to defend herself, but he overpowers her. He has the strength of 100 men. He holds her down, sword to her throat, ready to kill her, when all of a sudden Donna's eyes begin to glow. And for a moment, she has the strength of a titan, throwing the man off of her. Donna looks up to see the man impaled on a tree branch, dead. Donna killed him. Donna sits up out of the water, gasping for breath. She doesn't understand. The memories are conflicting. Some of these memories are from when she's a child. Why didn't the waters work? Green and purple flames erupt all around them, and we hear a voice. Because the source of your power is older than even the great river. And through the flames, Circe appears, drawn to the burst of power that Donna experienced when she dipped in the waters. Diana draws her sword and prepares to fight against Circe again to protect Donna, but Donna stops her. She says there's another memory. Something gentler, More and more is slowly coming back to her. Flashes of Cersei being kind. Memories of a life together, almost like she was her mother. The fires disappear. Cersei says that she's not here to hurt her daughter. She's here to protect her. Diana demands Cersei explain what's going on. How many of her Amazon sisters did Cersei fight through to get here? Cersei says that her Amazons are unharmed, but there are far more powerful forces after the girl than she realizes. And that same surge of power that drew Cersei here is going to be drawing him here at any moment. Donna returns Diana's lasso and says that she trusts Cersei. She can't explain it, but she would trust her with her life. The three of them escape the temple, and Diana asks who it is that's truly after Donna. She sees the Furies watching, snickering to themselves. She then looks up to what was once a bright and sunny sky to see dark clouds overhead. Oh gods. The sound of thunder floods the sky, and a bolt of lightning strikes the ground. From the smoke, a figure emerges. Not gods, mainly just the one. The dust clears, and we see a man crackling with electricity. Zeus, god of lightning and king of Olympus. He opens his mouth, and his voice sounds like rolling thunder. Diana, my champion. Thank you for locating the girl for me. It's been a real headache. I even had to come down here myself, but you know what they say, if you want something done right and all that. He has an air of confidence and arrogance, but also charisma. Every step he takes is weightless, like he assumes his authority is already eternally unquestioned. Diana asks the god what he wants with Donna. He avoids the question, but he assures her that the girl would be safe under his protection. You have my word, princess. Diana looks to Donna. Without a word, Donna shakes her head, her eyes filled with genuine terror. Diana looks back to the king of the gods and says, whatever this is, let us talk. Make things right. But the girl stays with me. Zeus stops. His eyes narrow and his smile drops. The facade fades away. At the weight of the old world and the god he used to be is unearthed to the surface. Oh. Well, that is a shame. Zeus swings his hand at Diana and Cersei, sending them flying with ease. They slam into the walls of the temple and get crushed by falling rubble. He grabs a hold of Donna and lifts his lightning bolt to the sky. There's a flash of blinding white light as Donna is transported across space as fast as lightning. She looks around to see a palace of gold and marble, beautiful stone pillars and archways, a divine kingdom floating among the clouds high in the sky. Mount Olympus. Diana lifts the rubble off of her and Cersei to free them, but not before the god vanished with Donna. She takes the lasso of truth and binds Cersei's hands together. Donna may trust the witch, but Diana is going to need more convincing. And they travel back through the island toward the jet. Cersei tells Diana that Zeus is going to kill Donna at any moment. Diana knows that Mount Olympus is sealed from anyone who isn't a god, but Cersei says that she knows a hidden path, or at least someone who does. He's hidden along the forgotten road of the Titans, buried by Zeus eons ago. But the path is guarded by some of the god's strongest soldiers, so she needs Diana's help to make it through. Diana reluctantly agrees, and the two of them join forces to save Donna. They pass through the main Amazonian city, past Hippolyta. She says that the whole island saw the lightning. She asks what's going on, and Diana tells her what happened and that the true enemy is Zeus himself. Her mother is stunned, but somehow not surprised. Cersei and Diana board the invisible jet, and before they take off, Hippolyta tells Diana that she has the full force of her sisters behind her. The path ahead will be dangerous, perhaps the most dangerous path she's ever walked. But to remember what she told her earlier, no matter what happens, never forget who you are. Diana smiles and nods before she and Cersei, still bound by the lasso, take off on their journey. While they travel together, Cersei tells Diana the truth about who Donna is. 19 years ago, a weapon was created, forged not by the gods, but something older. The Titans. After being overthrown, they watched for eons as Zeus and his Olympians grew in power, and they feared that he would unleash a wrath so powerful that no mortal could stop him. So they created a champion, a girl born out of clay, the same as Diana, and from a magic that the gods cannot control, their own Wonder Woman. They named her Troya. Troya Boya 17, more like. I gotta fit jokes into this video as much as possible. Zeus became aware of the weapon's existence, and not tolerating any challenge to his throne, he banished the remaining Titans beyond the borders of the world, into a prison even the gods could not easily reach. But not before the girl was sent to the depths of hell to protect her, with Cersei tasked to watch over her. At first, Cersei just wanted to create a weapon for revenge against the gods, but over time, the girl became like a daughter to her. Donna Troy's origin in the comics is one of the most convoluted things I've ever seen in my fucking life. I see people say all the time that Hawkman and Hawkgirl are confusing, but those two are a fucking cakewalk compared to my girl over here. And it all stems from how she was created. The character of Wonder Girl first appeared in Wonder Woman number 105 by Robert Kaniger and Ross Andru from 1958. And she wasn't a new character, but instead the younger version of Diana from her teenage years, like Superboy was for Superman. Now, when the Teen Titans were created in 1964, creators Bob Haney and Bruno Premiani needed a collection of teenage sidekicks to fill out the roster. So they went through the DC catalog, saw the character of Wonder Girl and without checking, assumed she was just a sidekick and accidentally created a whole new character. Ever since, DC has been doing their best to scramble together a cohesive origin for Wonder Girl, later named Donna Troy. Sometimes she's Diana's younger sister or a magical duplicate. The New 52 had her as basically a clone of Diana made by a different political party in Themyscira to overthrow her. The two most prevalent ones are pre-Crisis, where she was a girl that Diana saved from an apartment fire and granted special powers, or post-Crisis, where she was a champion raised by the Greek titans called Troia. Regardless of which one you prefer, it's kind of become expected at this point for Donna to have a new backstory every time she shows up. And I think if we're going to be taking the aesthetics of Absolute Wonder Woman, a story that is chock full of so many interesting concepts and ideas, it'd be really fun to take some of those concepts and give them to Donna, in a way turning her back into that younger version of Diana that she was originally created as. And also, justifying me taking so much from Absolute in the first place. Cersei tells Diana that in the 19 years since Donna's birth, Zeus continued his search, and the task for her retrieval was entrusted to a demigod, Zeus's favorite son, the hero of legend, Hercules. Hercules had been tracking Donna down and nearly discovered her, so Cersei nullified Donna's powers, wiped her memories, and implanted false ones. A fake life as a human. She sent her to Man's World to keep her away from him, where she lived for months, happy and unharmed. But despite Cersei's magic, Hercules managed to track Donna down and confronted her, and in an act of self-defense, she lost control of her power and killed him. The trauma of the act erasing her memories of that night. In case you're worried, DC Hercules fucking sucks, okay? He's a terrible guy. Horrible dude. These two people are not the same thing, so don't be offended. Diana starts putting the pieces together. The monsters sent after them, they weren't from Cersei. They were pawns from the gods posing as the witch. Cersei was merely trying to take Donna back home before she ran into Diana. And Zeus wants to kill Donna not just because she poses a threat to his kingdom, but also revenge for killing his favorite son. We cut to Mount Olympus as Zeus drags Donna across the marble tiling. Donna kicks back and screams, throwing insults and names at the king of the gods. Zeus stops and looks at her, his eyes filled with rage. "You murder my son, and this is how you speak to me? I should kill you where you stand." Zeus takes his lightning bolt and lifts it above his head, ready to destroy Donna with all of his power. But something stands in the way. Not just one person, but three. We see a woman clad in armor with an owl resting upon her shoulder, another woman covered in dirt and sticks, a bow and arrow in her arms, and a third woman wearing a long gown made of peacock feathers. Athena, goddess of wisdom, Artemis, goddess of the hunt, and Hera, queen of the gods. Hera tells Zeus not to kill Donna. Before he can argue, Athena reminds her father that Donna is not just some human girl. She's the champion of the Titans. Killing her now would spark political ramifications that he is not prepared to deal with. And worse, she is bound under protection of the Hecate. If Zeus kills her, the Amazon champion Diana suffers the divine punishment for failing her oath, and Olympus makes an enemy of Hippolyta and every Amazon alive. If Zeus wants revenge, he must take it in a way that does not hand his enemies a war. Zeus begrudgingly agrees with his wife and daughters. He doesn't fear the Titans or the Amazons, but says that he will look into the Hecate himself before taking action, and orders Athena to escort the prisoner to her cell until then. As Athena walks with Donna, she whispers in her ear to stay calm. The eyes and ears of her brothers are everywhere. Athena takes Donna through a nearby doorway and into a prison cell. Athena locks her inside and Donna tries to resist, but Athena tells her it's just for the time being until they can find her a way out. Her father is childish and arrogant, but he's still dangerous. They can buy her some time, but even they have their limits to defying his rage. If Donna wants any chance at survival, she must do everything she's told. As Athena leaves, Donna asks just one question. Why are you helping me? It is simple, my child. Because you're a friend of Diana. So we cut back and forth between Donna and Olympus as Zeus's rage grows more and more, and Diana traveling with Cersei to save her. Eventually, Diana trusts Cersei enough to unbind her from the lasso. On the Titan Road, the two of them come face to face with a Cyclops. Diana first tries reasoning with her enemy before fighting, which makes Cersei angry. She kills the Cyclops with one swift strike to the eye while it's distracted. Diana says that was cruel and Cersei didn't have to do that. Cersei says that she doesn't have time for Diana's kindness today. If she had struck Zeus when she had the chance instead of reasoning with him, Donna would still be safe. Diana pushes back, saying that Cersei herself feels love for Donna, even calling her daughter. If she was just a weapon, she wouldn't be risking everything to save her. But Cersei says that Diana still doesn't understand. The world doesn't change from kindness, only fear. And Diana is holding back Donna from who she's truly meant to be. Under your protection, Donna will always be a child, waiting to be saved. Under mine, she becomes what even gods fear. At the end of the Titan Road, Diana and Cersei find who it is that they're searching for. We see a man chained to the mountain, his skin sickly and pale, his wrists bloodied from the shackles, and his eyes gouged out. He wears an old rusted chain around his neck with an amber pendant. Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods to give to man, and now remains chained for all of eternity. They approach Prometheus, and Diana tends to his wounds and asks about the path to Olympus. He tells them, his voice dry and raspy from dehydration, that there's an old passageway in this mountain that leads to a tunnel underneath the god's temple. Cersei asks Prometheus, "Where did you hide it?" And he says he doesn't know what she's... Without warning, Cersei places her hand on the Titan's forehead. Energy surges through him. He screams in pain, and Diana grabs at her wrist to get her to stop, but Cersei's already finished. and she releases him. She approaches a large stone embedded in the mountain a couple yards away. She lifts up the boulder to reveal a hole, and inside a small package wrapped in cloth, hidden away for generations. Diana yells at Cersei, not only for needlessly harming Prometheus, but also that she lied to her. Somehow, under the magic of the lasso, she had ulterior motives the entire time. Cersei said that she didn't lie. She just chose her words carefully. Prometheus knew of a path to Olympus. It's not her fault that Diana chose not to ask what else he knew of. The lasso doesn't force out someone's deepest, darkest secrets. It compels them to tell the truth, which she did. Cersei unwraps the package to reveal a sickle, older than time itself. The sickle of Cronus, that he used against his father Uranus to become king of the old world. A weapon so simple, yet capable of killing a god. Their only chance against Zeus. Diana is shocked. She says, "You plan to kill a god, Cersei? Are you mad? You have no problem killing when necessary. It's better we kill him before he kills my daughter. But you're going to start a war that will kill millions more. She will be on the run for the rest of her life. Stop and think, sister. We can figure out a different way through this that doesn't end in blood." "Diana, don't you understand? Look at him." She points at the sickly, injured Prometheus. "This is what your kindness gets you, and it's what will happen to you and me and Donna if we don't take action. Imprisoned and tortured for eternity." I've mentioned a lot that so many Wonder Woman media as of late portrays Diana as a bloodthirsty warrior, chopping off heads willy-nilly and kills everybody that's even remotely antagonistic to her. And hopefully throughout this video, I've made it abundantly clear that I think that fundamentally misunderstands what makes her special. It's a big part of why so many Wonder Woman fans are apprehensive about her using the sword, despite on paper it not being much of a problem, but because that's been tied so heavily to her mischaracterization. And so that's why it feels like there has to be a binary choice between sword or lasso. And I think it could be really interesting for this movie to present that more violent option to Diana, even as a potentially valid option, and her still deny it. Zeus is a monster. Donna is in danger. Cersei's logic makes sense. Killing him might even be the simplest answer here. The kind that modern killer Diana, for lack of a better term, would immediately jump to. But that kind of bloodshed would do nothing but create a cycle of never-ending violence. Use this story as sort of a meta-commentary on how so many people misunderstand the ideals and values that she stands for, and essentially turn to the audience, look them in the eye, and say, "No, this is Wonder Woman." Diana takes a beat. She sees the Furies on a hill in the distance before asking Prometheus, "Why did you do it, my friend? Why did you steal from the gods?" "Because humanity deserved light." "And do you regret it?" "Not for one moment." Diana takes the sickle from Cersei and slices through Prometheus' shackles, breaking his chains. Donna does not need more bloodshed, Cersei. She does not need another weapon. She needs us. We will find a way to... Cersei sends a blast of energy at her. The two of them fight across the mountaintop over the weapon before it ends up on the ground. Cersei casts a spell and flames erupt around Diana in a circle. Magic binds, reaching up, grabbing her and pulling her downwards. The ground beneath her feet starts to crumble away and she starts sinking into the dirt. Diana tries to claw her way out, but the witch's magic is too powerful. Cersei floats the sickle over into her hands, walks over to the edge of the portal, and looks down upon Diana. "You've forced my hand, princess. I cannot let you keep holding Donna back." Diana pleads with Cersei, but it's too late. The ground starts to cover her mouth. Kindness cannot change the hearts of man. Before Diana falls into the darkness, she hits the floor, stands up, and looks at her surroundings. She can't see anything in the pitch blackness, but she manages to grab a hold of a torch and light it. All around her, she sees nothing but walls and passageways that seem to go on forever, winding and twisting in some endless maze. The Labyrinth. Diana tries to navigate through the labyrinth, but it's not so simple. Legends say that it's just a maze created by a mad king, but it's more than that. It's alive. The walls move, change. Every corridor goes on for miles, and every turn more confusing than the last. And worse, she's not alone. Creatures roam the maze. The souls of men who were trapped before her and never escaped. Decomposing bodies that never felt the peace of death still walk the halls with no sense of reason. Diana fights her way through, trying to find some path or direction, still followed by the figures of the Furies. They grow closer and closer as Donna's life grows more in danger. Diana keeps fighting before coming upon a small clearing in the maze. Dirty, bloodied, and exhausted from the past few days, she puts down her sword and rests on the ground. She tries praying to the gods for guidance. She calls for Hera, Athena, Artemis, Aphrodite, Demeter, anyone who will listen, but she feels no response. The Furies begin to cackle to each other, taunting Diana. "Gods can't hear you down here, princess. The girl will die and it will be all your fault." Diana ignores the words of the Furies. If the gods cannot hear her, then so be it. And so she prays to her mother, Hippolyta. And for a split second, Diana shows a moment of weakness, a moment of doubt. She says to her mother, "I've known kindness all my life. From you, mother, from my sisters and my friends, even my birth was a gift. And every moment of my life, I have tried paying that gift back. But perhaps I've been a fool. I carry this weight of representing not just the Amazons, but also all of the women in man's world who need me to be their symbol, which I have taken with open arms. But the world has taken my kindness and mocked me, ridiculed me, treated those values as weakness. And I am exhausted. I will always honor your teachings and the values you've instilled into me. But in man's world, my grace has brought nothing but pain and death. So is it true? Have I been naive? Is kindness really enough to change the hearts of man? You tell me to never forget who I am, but what if who I am isn't enough? The Furies reach toward Diana, their fingernails scrape against her skin. That's when Diana hears a sound, and she sees a massive, hulking figure approaching her. In the darkness, she wipes the tears from her eyes and grabs a hold of her sword before she hears a voice. It's you, the kind woman. The beast steps into the light. The Minotaur. He must have been imprisoned here once again after Zeus was finished with him. Wonder Woman gently places her sword on the ground. My name is Diana. What's your name, friend? The Minotaur pauses. I don't know. I've never had a name before. The moment I was free in man's world, I saw they called you Wonder Woman. Are you a hero? I am not so sure about that anymore. Many heroes have traveled these halls, thought me a monster. Diana sees scars and cuts along the beast's body. They hurt me. But you are the first person who was kind. Allow me to return the favor. The Minotaur says that generations ago, a hero came through this maze and tried to slay him, and he escaped with a piece of thread gifted to him by a princess. There's a small piece of that thread left, matted in his fur. He could never use it. The labyrinth would never open for the monster it was created to imprison, but maybe she can use it to guide her way out. Wonder Woman gently reaches her hand out and strokes the Minotaur's fur. She feels his hot breath on her skin, and she finds the thread, so thin you could barely notice it. As she plucks it out of his fur, the small thread begins to glow, brighter and brighter. Thank you, friend. Your actions have saved the life of someone very dear to me. When she is safe, I will make sure you can be freed from this place. The light of the thread begins to fill the room, revealing a passageway that wasn't there before. Before Diana exits through it, she looks back at the Minotaur. We still need to find you a name. How about Ferdinand? The Minotaur smiles. I like that name. It's very nice to meet you, Wonder Woman. My name is Ferdinand. Diana follows the thread out of the labyrinth through a portal that ends her back up where she and Circe fought. She travels up the path and towards a passageway to Olympus to find that Circe caved the path in. She looks up to the sky to see the peaks of Olympus. With no other way forward, Diana puts the hilt of her sword in her mouth and cracks her knuckles. We cut to Donna in the prison cell. Zeus has grown tired of waiting and is on his way to kill her at any moment. That's when Donna hears a voice calling to her. Circe, hiding in a small passageway. She casts a spell on the cell. The lock glows and opens from her magic, and Donna scurries into hiding with Circe. She still doesn't have all of her memories, only the moment of killing Hercules and vague thoughts of warmth for Circe, but that's enough for now to trust her. Zeus enters the prison to find the cell empty. He screams with rage that the girl is missing and demands all of his brothers and children find her immediately. Circe grips the sickle of Cronus beneath her cloak, but before she can attack, he vanishes in a flash of lightning. Donna asks Circe what's going on, where's Diana? And Circe says, I'm all you have. She's not coming to save you. We cut to the sides of Mount Olympus. Thunder booms and rain pours down from the sky, and we see Diana climbing up the side of the mountain with her bare hands. She reaches its peak, the threshold between God and man, and looks up to the thunderous heavens. The rain pounding against her face, Diana screams at the top of her lungs to the sky, demanding an audience with Zeus. The rain stops, and a bolt of lightning strikes Diana, transporting her to Mount Olympus. The air is still here, quiet. And Diana sees Zeus sitting at a small marble table. Instead of the bright, charismatic facade that we saw earlier, there's something different about him. He's calmer, quieter, more dangerous. He invites Diana to sit down and talk. That is what you Amazons do, right? Never raise your hand until you first extended it. Let us extend it together. Diana cautiously takes Zeus up on his offer and sits down to try and reason with him. Diana tells Zeus that this crusade against Donna has gone too far. The girl has done nothing wrong. The girl killed my son. No father could ever forgive that. Zeus tells Diana that he understands her predicament. She took on the Hecate oath without knowing the full stakes of what she signed up for. That's not her fault, and he doesn't feel that she should be punished for that. In the corner of her eye, Diana can see Circe and Donna hiding in a small passageway behind Zeus. I have to be honest with you, my champion. There is no scenario where this ends well for you. Either you give me the girl and you die, ripped to pieces by those nasty Furies, or you don't give me the girl, I find her anyway, because I will, and you die. I've seen many deaths that are the result of a failed Hecate, and they are very painful. I would not wish that upon even my greatest enemy. So he offers her a deal, a way out of the Hikatea. He can speak to his brother Hades or the Furies, whoever needs speaking to, and absolve her from this burden once and for all. Diana doesn't believe him. She says she's never heard of such a deal. I mean, I am king of the gods. Diana looks to see Zeus wearing a necklace, a rusted old amber pendant, the same one that belonged to Prometheus. I can do anything I want. Diana looks the king dead in the eyes and with a fury to her voice says one word: no. Diana, please reconsider, because this is a burden, is it not? Tell me truthfully, take a hold of that lasso of yours and tell me, is the girl a burden? She slowly reaches her hand to her belt and grabs a hold of something, but not her lasso, her sword. No. Zeus sighs. So be it. All of a sudden, Circe lunges at Zeus from her hiding spot, sickle in hand, but he turns and catches her, dropping the sickle to the ground. Zeus slams her into the table before lifting her up by the throat. Diana tries to save her, but Zeus bats Diana out of the way and sends her flying. Donna screams and grabs the sickle off the ground, stabbing Zeus in the arm and forcing her to release Circe. The god screams in pain, possibly for the first time in eons. He pulls the sickle out of his arm. You think you can kill me with the weapon of my own father, witch? And he shatters it with his bare hands. The god killer crumbles to dust between his fingers. Diana rushes towards Donna and grabs a hold of her, and Circe, gasping for air, casts a spell, teleporting Diana and Donna away to a clearing by the base of the mountain, the furthest she could send them in the moment. Diana hugs Donna and makes sure she's alright, but the reunion is interrupted by a bolt of lightning in the middle of the clearing. Zeus has found them. He calls out to them, I want all of the storytellers and the scholars to know when they write of this in the history books, that I tried to help you, Diana. Tried to make you see reason, but you couldn't accept my generosity, and now you both shall pay the price. Zeus begins to grow taller and taller until he's as tall as a mountain. His human form sheds, his body turns blue, the blood underneath his skin made of living lightning. This is the king of the gods' true form. As Diana walks towards Zeus, Donna tries to stop her. She begs and pleads with Diana, saying that if she tries to fight him, she will die. But Diana does not budge. Donna grabs her by the arm and stops her. She looks Diana in the eyes. Diana, you have completed your duties of your oath. I release you. I release you from this burden. I release you from the Hikatea. Diana looks to the distant mountains to see the Furies disappear into the wind, but Zeus's might still raging in front of them. Diana smiles and grabs a hold of her sister's hand. Thank you, my friend. And she prepares her sword, but it was never about the oath. Diana lunges forth into the air and battles against the gigantic king. The two of them trade blow after blow, Diana's speed and skill nearly a match for the god's infinite power, but still not enough. During the fight, a wounded Circe appears to take Donna away again, but Donna refuses. She points to Diana, who despite her best efforts is losing this fight. After everything that she's done, she's not going to abandon her. Circe tries to argue, but Donna is insistent. You say that I'm meant for something more, something greater. Then let me decide what that means. Circe is silent. If you do this, I can never hide you from him again. Then let him see who your daughter is. Circe smiles, and using up nearly all of her remaining strength, she casts a spell. Her hand begins to glow, and she places it upon her daughter's head. There's a flash of light, and Donna finds herself in a void of stars and clouds, somewhere between memory and magic. Gigantic silhouetted figures surround her, the titans of old, her creators. Donna calls out for answers about who she is, what she was made for. Is she nothing more than just a weapon? The titans' voices echo in her mind. Troia. You were created as a weapon, to stand against the gods, a power even Olympus would fear. However, though we could not reach you, we have watched you throughout your life, and you have grown into something more. A ball of light forms in front of Donna. She reaches her hand out and grabs a hold of it. Memories flood back to her in vivid detail. Her birth, growing up with Circe, but also her time with Diana, her friend, her sister, who showed her kindness when everyone thought of her as a tool. What that means is yours to decide. We cut back to the fight. Zeus disarms Diana, her sword falls to the ground, and he grabs a hold of her with his massive hands and begins to squeeze, tighter and tighter, choking the life out of her with his thunderous grip. We see Diana's sword embedded in the earth, and someone picks it up. The sword cuts across Zeus's wrist, not enough to truly wound him, but enough to loosen his grip and free Diana. Diana lands on the ground and collects herself, before looking up at Donna Troy, her memories and titan power as the Troia fully realized, but still the same young woman that she met in that apartment fire. Diana can't help but laugh. The sword. It suits you. You think so? I think it's a little big. Circe watches her daughter standing side by side with Wonder Woman, a weapon turned hero, born from clay and forged from kindness and compassion. She can't help but laugh a little bit through the pain. Now isn't that a cruel twist of fate? And with the last of her strength, flames coil around her as she disappears from the battle to tend her wounds. The two of them fight the god as a team, Diana using her lasso and Donna the sword, no longer protector and the protected, but fighting together as equals. For a moment, the two of them actually start to force Zeus back, but they still can't bring themselves to truly wound him. Donna ends up taking the full brunt of one of Zeus's strikes and is knocked to the ground, dropping the sword. Zeus takes his thunderbolt and throws it at the injured Troia. The lightning shoots through the air and towards Donna. Diana rushes towards her and grabs a hold of the sword. There's an explosion and a cloud of dust. As the smoke clears, we see Wonder Woman standing over Donna, using her sword planted in the ground as a shield for her and her sister. She takes the full force of Zeus's might, lightning strike after lightning strike, all of the power in the universe shooting through her like fire. She screams in insufferable pain. Her bones are broken, her hands are bloodied, but still, she does not yield. What does this prove, princess? All of this for what? For one girl? I am a god! And who are you to defy the will of a god? Wonder Woman looks Zeus in the eyes. My name is Diana, Princess of Themyscira. She takes a hold of her lasso and wraps it around her sword hand in a binding knot, reinforcing her shield. By all the gods of the old world and the next, I will not let you harm her. The lasso glows a warm, golden light. That is her truth. Zeus goes silent for a moment, his rage simmering inside him. An owl soars through the skies by him. He realizes that he can hurt her. He can even kill her, but he cannot make Diana yield. Her will, her compassion is stronger than his authority. One of the most dangerous lies in the world is the idea that hope is childish. It's a tactic that I see get used a lot nowadays. The idea that something is inevitable or here to stay, so you might as well get out of the way and accept it. When the reality is, that is just not true. You never have to accept cruelty, ever, even if it seems the strongest. And I think that Wonder Woman is the perfect embodiment of that idea. She is a character that will always stay true to who she is, even when the entire world tells her to step aside, that nobody is almighty. There is no such thing as absolute power. And if you hold your ground, plant your feet, and stand firm in your beliefs, never, ever budge when you tell them no. Not even a king of gods can make you move. Diana closes her eyes and prepares for another bolt of lightning, but it never comes. So be it. Zeus slowly shrinks down back to his human form, surrounded by the destruction of his rage. He tells Diana that he will forgive the girl for her transgression. Neither he nor any Olympian will hunt her from this moment forth, and the war between Olympus and the Amazons can be avoided. He speaks as though this was mercy, but Diana can hear failure in his voice. So that's it. We're done? We're done. He lifts his lightning bolt to the sky, ready to leave them. Zeus, in exchange for your cruelty, I have one more request. We cut back to the embassy 3 days later. The door opens and Ferdinand the Minotaur is guided in his new home. Diana tells him that this is not charity. He's gonna have to earn his keep here just like everybody else. Even though it wasn't his fault, they are still cleaning up the rubble for money charged through here. Ferdinand pauses for a second. I can cook? I like to cook. Diana looks at the 10-foot tall horned beast and smiles. Then we will find you a place in the kitchen. Diana asks Edda to lead their new chef to his room. She has to go make a public appearance as ambassador to try and explain all the massive God in the Mountain stuff in a way that hopefully doesn't cause an international panic. She goes into her bedroom to prepare, where she finds Donna Troy, clad in black and white starred armor, a fully realized Troia. Diana asks Donna what she's gonna do now that her memories have returned. Her life with Circe, but also as a champion of the Titans. And Donna says that she's not sure. Maybe use her new abilities to help people, just like Wonder Woman. Maybe she'll go searching for more answers or try to find Circe. There has to be more Titans in the world like her. But she'll stick around whenever Diana needs it. Still be her Wonder Girl. Well, this home is always open to you, my sister. The two of them hug, and before Donna leaves, Diana asks her something. Donna, I was wondering, how did you know about the Hikatea? What do you mean? Circe wiped all your memories, so how would you have known to ask about something like that at the lecture? Donna pauses for a moment. Like the question had never crossed her mind, even for a second. I don't know. I was studying at that college, so I must have read about it somewhere. Diana smiles and nods in agreement, and Donna leaves her to give her some privacy. She's silent for a moment, before saying, I should have known you were involved in some way. A man is standing behind her in her bedroom, wearing a leather jacket, but completely unassuming. All this talk of war, it had to be your doing. She grabs a hold of her sword and points it at the man, Ares. The god of war smiles. I'm impressed, princess, but you give me too much credit. I simply pushed things along. This entire time, he's been whispering in ears, told Donna about the Hikatea, told Hercules where to find her, told Zeus about Donna's creation. He was even the one to point Diana towards the apartment fire. He didn't control anybody, he just pointed people in the right direction. What does the god of war want with? War is so old-fashioned nowadays, so boring. It's just men in high towers sending other men to die for profit. I miss the good old days when a war would be fought over a woman. There's no more heart in it, no more fun. But that was some of the most fun I've had in centuries. What's your point? My point is, maybe I'm done with war. Maybe conflict is all the rage nowadays. Heroes and villains, friend against friend, mothers protecting daughters, lovers to enemies. Maybe I'll go see what Steve Trevor's up to, huh? Or that friend of yours. What's her name? Barbara? Don't you lay one finger on her. Ares smirks. That's it. That's the one. See you around, princess. Before he vanishes into a cloud of dust. Donna returns to the room, saying that she forgot something, to find Diana standing alone with her sword drawn. What's going on? Were you talking to somebody? Diana places her sword down. I sense we're going to have a lot more conflict in our future. Donna sighs. I'll ride the jet. And that is my pitch for a Wonder Woman movie. Obviously, a lot of this was inspired by the Absolute line aesthetically, but honestly, the majority of these ideas came from George Perez, Gail Simone, and Greg Rucka's runs for the character. If you're looking for some reading recommendations for Wonder Woman, she's actually a really easy character to get into. I'll put my favorite starting points down below. There are affiliate links that help out the channel. For years, I've always been a more or less casual fan of Wonder Woman. I've always respected what she represented for comic history and women superheroes, but even I had a lot of the same misconceptions that I talked about today. And it wasn't until I actually read some of her greatest solo comics that I truly understood just how special she is. And she instantly skyrocketed into being one of my top 5 favorite superheroes of all time. And so her DCU appearance, whenever that may be and whomever they may get to play her and anything like that, I believe needs to accomplish that same goal. A movie that shows just how special this character truly is. That she's more than a bloodthirsty killing machine or girl Superman. She's someone who is inherently defined by her compassion, who will always extend her hand before raising it. That her values, her belief in kindness, her truth is absolute. But what do you want to see from a DCU Wonder Woman movie? Do you want to see them pull from Absolute, or do you want to see something more traditional? Like I said, again, this was mostly traditional stuff. I just kind of put like a little sprinkle of Absolute in there. If you like this video, be sure to the like button and subscribe. I've been working on this one for a very long time. If you want to see another pre-write of mine, I've done a 2-hour trilogy about Green Arrow because he's my favorite character. I love the guy. Special thanks to Christopher, Clyro Plays Stuff, Creamy Stewart, Trey Webster 7224, and Den Loves to Watch for joining the spectacular tier of my Patreon and channel members. This has been TroyBoy17 coming at you live. Be responsible, respect women, and I will see you around.